Joining us now, most appropriately, is Jay Richards, Vice President of Social and Domestic Policy and a Senior Research Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, and his credentials are what led him to be featured in this documentary. The story of everything, the science that reveals the mind behind the universe. Jay, it's so great to be with you. Thank you so much. We are honored to have you with us, and I have to ask you, this film supports what I think Catholics already know, that our world was in fact created by God. So why was it important for you to be a part of this documentary?
A lot of it, you're exactly right. Of course, anyone that's studied Thomas Aquinas, his Summa contra Gentiles, or even his summary of the, his so-called 5 ways in his Summa, knows that they're really good philosophical arguments for the existence of a creator. It doesn't tell us everything we believe as Catholics, but at least a transcendent creator. Those are still valid, but they're also very difficult for a lot of people. And what's, I think, really exciting about the moment in which we live is that the natural world itself, God's general revelation of himself, has pointed in the same direction. So things that St. Thomas would not have known, that only really came to the fore in either the early or the mid-20th century, either the evidence for a beginning of the universe, the so-called fine-tuning of physical constants, the role of information in all the processes of life. These are pieces of evidence from the natural world that have been discovered by scientists, including scientists, many of whom are quoted in the film, that didn't necessarily like the theological implications. And because science is this sort of lingua franca of our culture, it's important, I think, to be able to point from the public evidence of science to something that we as Catholics have always believed.
Jay, I have to start off by saying I'm having a real issue with this interview because every time Kevin or Bishop say Jay, I look at them like they're talking to me and they're talking to you. The film features guests of different faith backgrounds. Why is taking an ecumenical approach to this topic impactful?
Well, I think there's sort of 2 ways you can think about that. And so let's say as Catholics, there's things we know and things we believe that we can bring to the evidence of nature and do a sort of theology of nature. Or we could do this the other way. We could say, okay, let's just do our best to follow the evidence of nature wherever it leads based upon what we know at the moment. And so I think it's important to be able to show that, there are sort of faithful Jews, secular Jews, there are Catholics, there are Presbyterians and evangelicals. There are all sorts of people in the film discussing this. Most are intrigued or persuaded by the evidence for design and purpose. Others are more skeptical, but at least they're part of the debate. And so that's really it. The question is the natural world, if we look at it in an objective and open-minded way, does it really point beyond itself or not? That's the key question asked and I hope answered to the film.
And during the course of the film, Jay, was there anything you learned from some of the people featured in the film that was maybe surprising to you or of interest to you specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got into this whole area because I co-authored a book called The Privileged Planet with an astronomer named Guillermo Gonzalez, which focuses on this evidence for fine-tuning in cosmology and astronomy. But there's a lot of things that have been discovered just in the last few years. So Luke Barnes, for instance, who is a physicist and cosmologist who's in the film, is up on the very latest. I mean, 20, 30, 40 years ago, we knew that there were these things called fine-tuning, like the gravitational force constant, which it seems very precisely set for the existence of complex life. What's exciting is that as we have learned more about the sort of fundamental physics of the universe, we even have more evidence of that. Sometimes it's a little complicated and hard to explain, but it's really encouraging to say, okay, I'm following the evidence where it leads. I don't know where we're going to go in the next 20 years. And so to work on this for 20 years, and when we wrote The Privileged Planet initially in 2004, there were only 100 extrasolar planets known. And so we were working with limited data. Well, there's now over 5,000 extrasolar planets, that is, planets around stars other than the sun. And the evidence is still pointing in the same direction.
For me, I majored in biology in college, for what it's worth. But I've always been fascinated with science and astronomy and the space program. And I look at the diversity of creation and I think to myself, how could someone not believe that this was intelligently created by a God of great love and power? But for you personally, did science shape your faith, or have you, as always, believed in God without any empirical evidence?
And I think it's honestly a mix. I wouldn't say, okay, I discovered, I read an article about fine tuning and became a theist. I was raised Presbyterian. My family became Catholic 17 years ago. But I would say that this evidence is, I would say, mutually reinforce the things that I believe theologically, because it'd be very strange if God revealed himself specially in the church and history and in Jesus Christ, but the universe that he's created just is sort of silent to that. And so I think it's encouraging to everyone's faith to realize actually the natural world, it's not going to tell you everything that we need to know about God and his personal name, but at the very least, as Paul says in Romans 1, that from the foundation of the world, God's invisible qualities and eternal power have been clearly seen from the things that have been made. So it's exciting to live at a moment in which that testimony is all the louder.
Jay, here's a behind-the-scene thing. So as we were watching the trailer, Bishop Reed leaned over and said, I'm going to go see this weekend. How and when can people watch the film?
So it's actually in theaters around the country. As you mentioned, it opens on April 30th. And so wherever you are, you can either go to the website, the Story of Everything, or just honestly Google theaters near you where it's showing.
Jay, thank you so much for being with us today. And I think this is a movie that hopefully will move people to understand God's role in creation.
That's right. So thank you.
Thanks,
Have a great
Jay.
day.
God bless.
Jay.